So we're out on to another talk, and it's our good friend Ted Verani from Wappier, who is here to talk about the App Store evolution, making the most of Apple's pricing upgrade. So please welcome to the stage, Ted. Hello. Come on in. Oops.
Can you take a couple pictures of me?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah. I can do it on my phone.
Good. All right. So yeah, great last talk. I thought now we want to we're going to talk about pricing. So specifically, what Apple did in terms of a big upgrade that we have with regards to the biggest upgrade that they've done on the App Store since it's gone live, and specifically kind of zero in what it means for you in terms of how you can now better use pricing as a way to improve your revenue. I think it's actually fitting that Apple did, because like you lost in the news we've been talking about, even the last presentation talking about what they're doing with IDFA, and certainly the Apple's allegedly for data privacy have been trying to make it harder for us, I guess, to acquire people. So to make it's challenging for us too, but even past that, retargeting and everything else. So in general, but I think they've actually finally done us a favor here too. So we'll thank them for that. Now what I want to do is talk first is, well, first let me just tell you a little bit about who we are. Wappier. I work for Wappier, and I'm head of business development for Wappier. Fundamentally, we're an AI company. How we get data, we get deep insights into player behavior. We understand the relationship with the wallet and spending patterns. And then really what we help is primarily gaming developers to make more money from their games, right? So we get those insights. Most people know us really for pricing optimization. Here's some of the good folks that we have the privilege to work with. So a lot of big top games. And I'll even have some case studies from some of these games that I can share with you at the end. So, but I really don't want this to just be a commercial, about Wappier and what we're doing too. So first, let's talk about what is the Apple. So they announced this last year. At the end of last year, the announcement this first became available for subscriptions, but then just a couple months back, they did the big update to the App Store. What did they do? Specifically, they added like 700 different price points for SKUs for you to do. 100 also for available upon request. So now you have 900 different price points to work with. Also, some more granularity within the 900. They brought it all the way down to 29 cents, being now the lowest price, all the way up to $10,000. I'm not sure exactly what you would buy that in a game, but I guess perhaps there. But even granularity within there. So at the lowest level, 29 cents, up to I think it's $10. Incremental increases of 10 cents. From $10 up to 50, you can now go 50-cent increments too, and so on, up to the highest range, about $99.99 up to $9,999 is $100 increments. But really what we're meaning here is now some more flexibility, granularity, more prices that you can choose from. Related that you're no longer locked into this ending 99 cents, right? Sort of the left order effect, trying to think, we just saw the first number. No one knows that it's just 1 penny more is $1. Instead, conventions of maybe you just want to end double zero. You can add in just zero. You like the look of it. Bottom line is a marketer now has more control at their disposal, like 95 cents, something, just because maybe you decide that looks better. You can also schedule time changes with that. I think I'm standing in front of this. So, again, thinking of a marketer, you can promote your event, you're planning your big promotion, say Black Friday Day. Instead of worrying about getting into the prices beforehand, you can put it well in advance. And I think most importantly, and really what I want to get in a lot deeper for the rest of this presentation, is set local territory pricing within your game too. And that's particularly good. I'm going to get a little more detail about what I mean about for country-specific pricing there. But it's no longer impact of automatic price adjustments. So previously, you would set pricing according to just a tier. Apple then would decide what that was in different countries, periodically doing adjustments for taxes or for exchange fluctuations, which in some ways is a nice service. But now you can actually get into the granular level on a per-country basis, decide what is the right price on a per-country level. And then related is, now you can keep your local currency constant, right? So not worrying about it now adjusting on the fly with you is for any store from your choice, even as foreign exchange and taxes fluctuate. So for instance, maybe your home country is Japan, right? And you want to, so you don't, most of your purchases are in Japan. You don't want to worry about, you don't really care that the yen might be fluctuating against the euro or the dollar. So you can set that as your home country and be good, with that. So of course, with now, what does this mean? There's a lot of changes in there. both opportunities as well as challenges. First, opportunities. A lot more flexibility in pricing of products. So now across 45 different currencies, 170 different, storefronts out there for us too. So getting the country specific. More granular control now allows developers to better compete with other apps on price accordingly. So now, the marketing literature talks about pricing as being one of the 4 Ps, too. So, but really, when you think about it, in game development, we really haven't used price to great impact or effect, or certainly most game developers not. We're helping a number to do that. So that's another thing. And then also we have a wide range of pricing options to accommodate different business strategies and pricing models. So, net, that's what this flexibility update of Apple does done for folks. There are challenges, right? So as you think about going down the path towards making optimization using price, know that managing multiple price points, storefronts across different currencies can be complex, time-consuming. If you think about your game, if you have 100 price SKUs, you have thinking about pricing for 50 different countries, great, now you have 500 SKUs to manage. So you're going to have to think in advance about a system. So we have a platform that does this, but a system and how you are going to manage. Because optimizing for price is not really just set it once and just ignoring it. That's kind of what most people have been doing so far, but really thinking about it, managing it, making it much more dynamic. New pricing system also will lead to increased competition. So that, I'm suggesting that you can now start using price as a way to compete more effectively. So fully expect and plan for your competitors to be thinking the same thing. So now instead of worrying about having the best content or other things, features, functionality, watching competition in that front, now watching to see what they do in price, right? Because that is now a lever in which people can pull. Then, of course, now staying competitive in a global market requires some careful consideration to what impacts price sensitivity, right? So first, what should be the right price? So complexity in terms of managing a lot of price SKUs, but understanding what is the right price. Now it's monitoring inflation. It's getting an idea for exchange rates on, it changes daily, but at least on a monthly basis, take a look at that, see how it's optimized too. But of course, consumer behavior, and what that means. So that is the control. So those are some of the challenges to think about. So you can do this stuff. Why does it matter, right? So why does really just thinking about price matter? Obviously I'm kind of biased. I talked about, one of the 4 Ps. My background is in marketing too. But first, it's, one reason it matters is right now, most developers have a one-size-fits-all approach when it comes to pricing, right? Most game developers, you've priced the game for the United States. It's probably your largest market, 50 to 60% of your revenue. And you let the app stores just do currency rate conversion. Simply put, you're mispriced. Because people respond differently to different prices to different locations, right? In general, prices will be different, but definitely on a per country basis, people are going to respond differently in terms of how they will make a purchase. And adjusting the price, for power increases the price and willingness to purchase. So just really what's great is a small change just to the number, that someone sees has an outsized impact. Think about what you do, live ops, creating new content, new features, right? That's hard, right? Pricing in some ways hard too, but when you think about just one small change in terms of development resources is what it takes to make someone willing to make a purchase. But pulling all together, if you do this, getting your pricing right, kind of the fastest, most effective way to really increase the bottom line. And that's what Apple's done. So Apple is actually giving us sort of their update, allows now developers to better use pricing in order to maximize revenue. I'm going to talk a little bit more about thoughts on how to. So rest of this conversation, I want to talk. So that's what Apple's done, giving us these tools. We're going to talk about global pricing. And I'll start with the question. So why does it matter? The question is for you guys, do you localize your game? Right? We all kind of take it for, expectation that, of course, I can't just expect everyone to play a game that's in English, around the world. We localize it for language first. Some people go further and they, make some cultural, changes to the game and localizing better, which is good. And if you're doing that, why aren't you localizing your pricing? Because there's no one size fits all when it comes to pricing, right? And that's why I said earlier was that most people are pricing on just as if everyone is an American around the world. Let's agree that most Americans have a higher average income than most places around the world. Not just that, greater willingness to spend, right? I always like to joke with so in Germany, also a high income country, just because they have a high income doesn't mean they have the same willingness to spend as an American, right? Because in currency rate conversion in the App Store is not sufficient. So it's not just about what is it according to the euro, but even within the euro, you have a eurozone, right? We're in Finland, it's a high income country, less low income. There's also Southern European countries with not as high income. Within euro is actually one of the areas we have the greatest impact, for players being optimized on a per country basis. But past that, not just currency pricing the demand curve, takes deep insights into local behavior, local purchasing power. Past that, managing now hundreds or potentially thousands of price SKUs, depending on the size of your game, is a big task, something to kind of think about. But again, getting to specific as fast as easy we drive incremental revenue too. I get this question a lot. So hey, are you guys doing a Big Mac index as if they're kind of zeroing in on some sort of secret out there too? I don't even know. I mean, people talk about it. I don't know where that first came about, but first of all, the fast answer is no. We're not doing a Big Mac index, which price of meat actually fluctuates on a per country basis. So if we think about digital good as something with no marginal cost, the right price is what someone's willing to spend for it, right? Whereas a Big Mac in some parts of the world, it's very inexpensive, right? It's cheap food. I've been in some parts of the world where it's a date night. It's compared to say the local food, local cuisine, and I'd rather have local cuisine in most cases. Instead, there's a lot of it. What you'd really want to care about is, I'm going to give you some insights a little bit into how we do things too, but it's absolutely some things you could do yourself. Is data you can collect. This is publicly available data. I'm not standing in front of some information. So macroeconomic data, so what is GDP? It's publicly available. With exchange rates, as I mentioned, that's one of the bigger indicators, watching and monitoring how that fluctuates between different exchange rates too. There's also microeconomic data. We really want to get an idea of household purchasing power for within a per country basis. But then overlaying that with game statistics, right? So we want to get so that's also available too. So taking game statistics, understanding gamer growth, what is the growth of different games within markets too, device information, what's the smartphone penetration, what's the ratio of iOS versus Android. All these are different indicators or signals rather that help us to get the price. We take all that data together, even genre, funny enough, like some countries just, social casino does really well in some Commonwealth countries, right? Very popular there too. You wouldn't do social casino in the Middle East, North Africa region, really, or it's just not as popular too, so it's less, impactful to think about, per country pricing there too. And so all this data is available. You want to ingest it. We pull this together. We call it a Wappier index. Again, it's available. We then start working on the data, some revenue regression models. We do it directly in the App Store. So again, what I was saying earlier, now Apple has now made it much easier to make this price change. So, we do this directly. We already do. In effect, actually, what Apple's done is made the App Store flexible, more easy to work with that Google Play already is. So this is something that you can already do. When we do this for customers, been doing it for years now. So saying we make the price changes directly into the App Store. So again, your account, you can do this directly. We'll take our index. So again, data outside of the game first. That's the baseline. That's the starting point to give relative level of, say, discount in most cases, not always, in most cases versus the US. So that's a starting point. But then what we'll do is sequential price evaluations on a monthly basis. It's important to measure impact on a per country level, right? So it's not just change price once and tomorrow go take a look at it and see how it works, right? Because when you're measuring performance on a per country level, you are looking at data and small data sets, right? So it does take time in order for data, transactions, payers to flow through the system in order for you to see whether or not the price change was impactful. I'll come back to that a little bit later. And it's not about behavior, right? We do a lot of that stuff too with promotional pricing and so too, and other people as well. But the data you need from your game is just transactions and activity data. Purpose of that, measuring the impact. Make a change to price. What we do is we wait a month, ideally a full month, measure it, make another change. The biggest changes to price that you will make probably be in the first 2 months. Generally, bigger swings in price. If it's an older game, you haven't made a change for a while. First month, we'll adjust first to what is the correct currency fluctuation versus the dollar. Second month will be against the index that we've created already, that we already work with too. Thereafter, small incremental changes, 5, 10%, ongoing basis, so directly to that. We're lucky, we have a platform, it's deliberate, not lucky, we just by design, this is what we do. So we have, it's 4 million lines of code, it processes 5 billion events a day. This is what allows us in a very scalable way to do that. Not to say that you can't do this yourself, running, spreadsheets and whatever, down the road. It works. Okay? So I can, share some results with you too. What you'll say. So as I mentioned, you price you right away. Month one, you see the increase in revenue. But first thing you're going to see is a big increase in payer conversion, right? As I mentioned earlier, more often than not, we're going to lower price, right? Because again, you're treating everyone like just a wealthy American around the world. We're going to lower price. Some cases might raise price. So if you think small, rich countries, so Switzerland, some oil-rich countries, UAE, Qatar, oddly enough, even Ireland, we've seen some increases in price there. Every game is different on a per-country basis, so it's a starting point. But you will see a big increase in payer conversion, about 10 to 24% increase per month. That translates also to a big increase in the number of transactions as we made it more affordable for that. About 10 to 45% increase per month. And then increase resulting from that is a big increase in overall IAP revenue. We ask, be patient, stick with it. Again, once you change price tomorrow, you've just given a better deal for all your current payers in your game, right? So expect even your revenue to go down, right? Because but right now you're living in a world where it's a small number of people even paying in your game. We are trying to now make it more affordable. It makes for a larger audience of people. So be patient. Usually we will see generally increase in revenue month one for that. Sometimes we've seen even negative. But we do expect in the first 3 months volatility as we zero in and try to get the optimal price on the demand curve. But you will see then 15 to 40% increase in revenue outside of the US on a per country basis. So as they say, your mileage will vary and it can even go up and down according to that. We do see even higher on that. Benefits are more than just revenue. We did a study of about 60 different games we're live with. See what that is. So we saw that also an 8 to 12% increase in the average days of activity per month. So engagement. So that's just now it makes sense. As more people are spending in your game, you pay your conversion, they're more engaged and more invested in your game. So you also see increased activity. So that's great. Also a big increase. So as you've now localized your price, you're going to increase your payer conversion, but also the speed towards that first purchase. So about 12 to 24 increase per time for increase in terms of time, decrease time to get to the first purchase. After that, we're going to see is then 11 to 33% decrease in the time to the second purchase, right? So we now are increasing the number of transactions. We're also now increasing the velocity of the transactions, net impact overall IAP revenue. Healthier game for you. How much time do I have? Ooh, a minute. Okay, a couple quick case studies. We're not named here, but it's a social casino game. We're live with them many years, since 2018. Part of a big company that does real money gaming, so it's a $1 billion corporation. Rely on us for the social casino game. I like this site also because this one's actually 55% high ARPU, right? So even higher than sort of our, we say to estimate 15 to 30% too, but this has been higher. Also illustrates that it's not just about your lower income countries. So it's not just about Brazil, Peru, where you'd expect to see payer conversions, but Germany, 81% increase. Sweden, 22%. Canada, lower percentage, but it's a social casino game, so now a very large revenue base to start with that. So that's been good. Still good. It's not specific to genre either. Sometimes I get that question. It's a hidden object game, big game, June's Journey, from Wooga, too. We've been privileged to work with them since October 2019. Again, price is not set at once and done. You don't just, probably changing it at once is probably better than doing nothing. But, if you're going to be serious about it, the world is a dynamic place. Staying on top of your prices, making changes with it on an ongoing basis. This game, we've seen ARPU lifts of 10 to 43%, average 12% ARPU, so lower percentage, but larger revenue base CSR2. Here's the 30% ARPU uplift on average for this game. So again, a very large, game out there. Android only, launching out iOS, as I mentioned earlier, just subject to this conversation. iOS is now easier. This is both Android and iOS, an IP-based role-playing game. This game's also unique and interesting because 70% of the revenue is, I get this question a lot, oh, all my revenue is in from the US. I'm like, yeah, no kidding, it's self-fulfilling prophecy. And this is with the WWE champion, so this is also very IP specific to the US, so you kind of expect that would be very heavy US. But still, it's a big game. We're $600,000 addressable revenue. It's like, this is money straight to the bottom line, and so it makes sense to localize it. Again, same story, you got your Germany's and your France also high income, doing well, but also your Chile's and your Brazil's, Malaysia, Thailand doing well too. That's it.
Perfect. Ted, thank you very much. That's great.
Thank you.
Now, of course, Ted's information is up on screen if you want to catch up with him. But we're a little bit over, but I don't want to miss a chance while Ted's on stage. Do we have a question from the audience? Let's take one. Oh, there's one there. Can we get a mic there? We'll just take that one question, and then we'll move on. But I thought while you're here,
thank you.
Is that okay?
No, I got nothing else to do.
Hello, thank you for your lecture. And my question is, who exactly do this price changing? It's on your side, or you just give a recommendation for your clients, and they buy themselves? Sorry.
Sure, yeah, we do it. It's a managed service, so we do have technology that does it. So we, with their permission. Important point is that anyone we work with they review and approve any price changes, so we're not like willy-nilly sort of like monkeying around in there too. So, but we do have access to that. So it's not human being, it's not myself, definitely not myself. But our platform communicates through an API that makes changes. But again, it's an important point. They review and approve. They have very control and visibility, including any guardrails to like change. So every game company is a little bit different, and so we think we're like the extension of their live ops, so like the pricing team, if you will. Too. But again, my presentation is also meant to, you guys can do it. You should do it, too. So just hopefully that was helpful for that too.
Perfect.
Thank you.
That's great. Thanks very much, Ted. Appreciate it. Thank you very much.